Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to Star Wars Real Talk. Today we're going to be talking about the Season 2 finale of Mandalorian. I don't have a script in front of me. I don't have any kind of structure for this video at all. I'm just talking because I'm really, man, that episode, it's hard to put it into words, and I just wanted to, I just wanted to have an outlet. Where to begin? Well, first of all, these past like 2 or 3 episodes of The Mandalorian have been more exciting and reduced me to the state of a giggly child more so than the entire sequel trilogy put together. It's just unbelievable what can happen when you have people running a Star Wars production who actually love Star Wars, and they get Star Wars and they get the fans, and they're not just shelling out fan service, they're telling a new Star Wars story in a new way, but also still making it feel like Star Wars, and not just like, you know, they gave us Boba Fett, which I guess is a little bit of fan service, but it suited the plot of the storyline. I mean, it follows Mandalorians and bounty hunters, so it's not really fan service to include Boba Fett. Because, like, first of all, just to get into this just a little bit, I don't think it's fan service because when George Lucas made the original trilogy, I don't think he was aware of how massive of a fan favorite Boba Fett was going to be for the very small role that he played in the movies. The same thing happened with Darth Maul, right? And they ended up bringing Darth Maul back, and Darth Maul doesn't feel like fan service. They just realized that he had more of a story to tell, and I think the same thing happened with Boba, which was just incredible to see. Ooh, when the Slave One flew into the shot, just goosebumps, man. Just the sound of the ship, the audio that they used when the ship came in. I've been watching other people react to it on YouTube because it's just so satisfying to watch other people get to experience that again for the first time. It's just so that childlike magic that Star Wars had was brought back in this season. In the same way that they brought Boba back with the Slave One coming into the shot, slowly they reveal a hooded figure. Turns out it's Boba Fett. They did the exact same thing with the X-Wing and Luke. Tell me, who did you guys think was in that X-Wing? Like, originally I thought it was maybe that one X-Wing pilot that's kind of been following our heroes around this season. And then I'm like, wait a second, we haven't had our Jedi reveal yet. So I was thinking it was either going to be Luke or Mace Windu, if I had to guess, because same thing with Mace Windu. I think he technically died off screen, so he still has more of a story to tell. I think they're going to do the same thing with him. But then I thought about it and I'm like, wait a minute, Luke flies an X-Wing. And then I started to get excited, right? And then again, hooded figure leaves the ship. I love how it was kind of revealed to us piece by piece. You know, they didn't do this whole Luke Skywalker reveal all at once. It was like the X-Wing. You start to think the hooded figure. Then I realized it was black robes. And then I knew when I saw the black leather glove. When I saw the black leather glove, it was the cat was out of the bag, right? Because I couldn't remember if he had black leather gloves on both hands or just his robotic hand. And then we saw his other hand and it didn't have a glove. And it's like, okay, it's robot hand. This is 100% Luke. So then I got to enjoy the whole scene knowing that it was Luke, but not quite seeing him yet. So I had that childlike wonder, you know, just wondering what he was going to look like, and just the excitement and the anticipation of Luke Skywalker returning to Star Wars and in the way that we actually wanted him, you know, not the miserable old hermit in episode 8. This is the Luke that we wanted. This is the Luke that the fans have wanted all this time. It was just that easy. Like 2 minutes at the end of the Mandalorian season finale was the Luke that we wanted in a way that was done a lot better in the entire sequel trilogy. 2 minutes in Mandalorian, and people are happy. They're thrilled. They're psyched about this Luke. Why was it so hard to just do Luke well in episode 8? Okay, I'm not going down that rabbit hole, but man, it was just fantastic. And he looked almost perfect. I gotta say, like, obviously when it's a deep fake, actually I'm not even sure if it was a deep fake, or I was thinking they got like a lookalike actor and they did a little bit of like editing to his face to make him look more like Luke. But obviously you can always tell that it's not quite Luke, but man, just near perfection. The voice was almost perfect too. I was wondering if they were going to get Mark Hamill's voice for that role, but I mean, he's older now, so I don't think his voice would sound as youthful as it did in the show. So anyways, just done really well. And I would also like to add that in Rogue One, Vader got his cool hallway scene. That is, to date, my favorite scene in all of Star Wars. Vader tearing down those rebels in that hallway. And now Luke has that exact scene. Like, I saw a video of someone who already lined them up side by side of Vader tearing through the rebels and Luke tearing through those droids, and it was awesome, man. It was like a like father like son moment. It was just so cool to see. But this is the risk that they take when you include characters like Ahsoka or Luke or even Boba, and the risk is that you take the spotlight away from Din and Grogu, the main characters of The Mandalorian, who I have not even talked about yet 5 minutes into my Mandalorian video. It's a bit of a delicate balance that they have to manage when you include fan favorites and you have new characters, and you try and make sure that the story isn't shining on one character more than the other, or just plays out in a way that doesn't feel like fan service. So I think they did a really good job. I mean, it was a totally fulfilling episode when Mando took his helmet off. Sorry, I gotta stop calling him Mando, I gotta start calling him by his name. When Din took his helmet off and he had that emotional scene with Grogu, and man, I was super choked up. I almost had tears rolling down my face. It was just such an emotional scene with Luke coming in, the Binary Suns soundtrack playing in the background. It was just incredible. I totally thought they were going to leave us on a cliffhanger with Grogu. I thought, like, either they were going to save Grogu and they were going to cliffhanger the Jedi, or vice versa, that we were going to get the Jedi but they weren't quite going to get Grogu, or something like that. There was going to be some kind of cliffhanger, but they've given us a totally fulfilling ending. They've completed Grogu's story, and a lot of people are wondering, well, what's going to happen to the Mandalorian if Grogu's not in it? Well, to that I say, I'm not sure if the Mandalorian is going to be that much longer of a show. I mean, this is a Din story, so the only place that we can go from here is if we actually go to Mandalore and, you know, cover the whole story about who's going to lead Mandalore. You know, we have this whole plot twist at the end with the Darksaber. You know, is Din going to be the ruler of Mandalore? Is it going to be Boba Fett? Is it going to be Bo-Katan, right? That seems like the obvious choice, but now there's this whole dilemma with the Darksaber. So maybe the season 3, episode 1, we'll start off with her facing off against Din for the Darksaber, so she can begin her quest to retake Mandalore. I think that's the only place I can see the show going. And I don't think we're going to get Mace Windu in this show. I know a lot of fans are speculating, but I think we got Luke, and we're not going to get Mace Windu. But there is always the possibility, because Boba Fett is in the show, if they were to introduce Mace Windu, it could be in a way where Boba Fett gets, you know, to fight for justice for his father because he saw Mace Windu take Jango's head off. So there is potential for some kind of interesting interaction there, but I'm not sure how that would play out, because nobody wants to see Mace Windu kill Boba, and nobody wants to see Boba kill Mace Windu. So maybe they won't add it because it's just too delicate. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. And I don't think we're going to get to see Luke again until maybe the end of season 3 when they return with Grogu or something. But you can't have Luke too much in the show because he's absolutely steals the spotlight away from Din. And while it's amazing, we still don't want to ruin Din's story by getting Luke Skywalker fan service, right? We got to be careful. While fan service feels really awesome at the time, it's just kind of like a hit of dopamine, but it doesn't do anything for the Star Wars universe. It doesn't continue expanding it. It doesn't tell new stories. It just kind of gives us a little shot of endorphins, and then we move on, and nothing has really been added to the Star Wars universe. So I do want to keep the spotlight away from those kinds of characters, and then just kind of slide them in subtly here and there in a way where we can enjoy it and it adds to the story, but it doesn't take away from the story. Another point about Luke coming in, and I realized this after watching Star Wars Theory's video about how Moff Gideon tries to literally kill himself when he sees Luke coming. I just thought that he was like afraid because a Jedi was coming and he knew that he would lose to a Jedi, but like, yeah, it was Luke Skywalker. Everyone knew who Luke Skywalker was. He brought down the Empire, right? So he would have struck fear in anyone's hearts. He was a freaking legend in the galaxy. So him trying to kill himself just really shows the impact that Luke had on the universe. But yeah, I guess I should probably talk about the episode itself. It was really well done. I mean, it just felt like a classic heist episode. Din facing off against one of the Dark Troopers was really, really awesome, and I did predict that Din was going to face off with Moff Gideon with his Beskar spear. I guess that was obvious. I mean, where else was the story going to go? But that was a pretty awesome fight, and I like that Din shut him down pretty quickly, because honestly, why would Moff Gideon have any experience with a Darksaber? Like, he didn't really look like he was swinging with any precision or skill. He looked like he was just swinging like a madman, so I kind of expected his defeat to come swiftly, but it was still a really cool scene, and I'm definitely going to go back and rewatch it. Also, I love that they had dubstep playing when the Dark Troopers were like doing their thing. I've never heard dubstep in the Star Wars universe before, and that was you'd think that it would be bad, but it was done really well. Like it wasn't like so in your face like an epic Skrillex remix. It was just done to like enhance the shock value of the Dark Troopers, and it just made them more epic, everything they did. I was a fan of it. I know a lot of people thought Ahsoka was going to be in this episode, you know, like getting everyone together in one episode for a big finale. Like, I'm glad they didn't do that, because I think Ahsoka's episode was only there so they could introduce her to the mainstream. Like, all the animated fans already knew who she was, but the rest of the Star Wars community did not know who she was, so that episode was just to introduce her and to get her a foothold in her own show. So I'm glad that she wasn't in the finale, because again, it would have taken away from it, and it would have added this weird dynamic with Luke. Also, like, once a Jedi's in the show, like, they totally steal the spotlight, and all the combat becomes kind of trivial, because one Jedi, like Luke himself, took out every single one of those Dark Troopers, minus the one that Din did, and Din almost friggin' died fighting one of them. So if you have a Jedi on the team, they're going to make trivial of any kind of tense situation. So I'm glad there hasn't been many of them in The Mandalorian, because that's not the kind of show that Mandalorian is, right? It's that rough, gritty, greasy, bounty hunter type feel of a show, and that would get removed when Jedis are added to the mix. Yeah, man, there isn't a lot of plot points that I have to talk about here. It's more like, and whenever I think to the episode, all I can think about is Luke. So yeah, the episode was really awesome. All the episodes this season have been awesome, minus, you know, a couple filler episodes, but even those ones were still entertaining to watch. The Bill Burr episode was awesome. The episode where Boba returned was awesome. There was just so many highlights of the season. Like, I definitely have to go back and rewatch it. I'm glad that Din got some face time in the show in a way that felt organic and not forced, because it does help to humanize Din, and it's good for the actor, right? He's in the biggest show on television right now, and I'm glad that he got a little bit of face time. The Grogu bug, or the Baby Yoda bug, never really bit me as hard as it did a lot of other people. Like, yeah, he was really cute and silly, but he, you know, I looked at him more like an interesting character with a lot of potential and a lot of mystery. I didn't want to get a coffee mug with him on it, or a cozy sweater, or a knitted blanket with Baby Yoda on it. Like, I was more interested in him as a character and what was going to happen with him. And, you know, he was a baby, right? He just kind of sat around and he didn't really do anything. So I'm not throwing shade on Grogu. I'm just saying he didn't do much for the show other than just being a plot point, right? A character of interest. And I'm only saying that because, like, he's a main character, right? Like, he's just as much the face of Mandalorian right now as the Mandalorian himself. And it feels kind of weird not to talk about him. It's just, I don't really have anything to say about him, right? He's just a mysterious baby. And a lot of people are speculating that, or maybe it's not even speculation, maybe it's just obvious that Grogu is serving as the bridge to the sequel trilogy, and, you know, the cloning of Palpatine and Snoke and all that. Grogu is just serving as that connection point. So he might not ever be anything magical or mysterious. I'm not writing him off yet. I think that he's probably going to do a lot for the Star Wars universe. I don't know, if they fast forward 500, 1,000 years and we get to see him as an adult, yeah, maybe then that'll pay off. But for now, I think that he's just serving as kind of a plot point and a bridge to the sequel trilogy. And I know that Grogu's role might be to just be a connecting point to the sequel trilogy, but I don't really understand why we needed to do that in the first place. Like, why cloning technology was such a shocking idea for the sequel trilogy. Because are we forgetting that we literally had a clone army in the prequels? I don't know, cloning technology has been around for like 100 years before Palpatine was trying to clone himself. So I don't know, maybe I'm mixing this up in my head. I am excited, however, to see if we do get to see Grogu training with Luke at all. And, like, anything, like even like a 30-second scene of just seeing Luke train somebody in the way that we actually want him to see him do it, not like in episode 8. Like a heartfelt Luke that really cares about the Jedi, and it looked like he really cared about Grogu, and I think that would just be a super cool scene to see in maybe season 3 at some point. Oh yeah, I did want to talk about that bar scene where Boba is getting into some trouble with the new Mandalorians they introduced into the show. That was an awesome little tussle, and I love that they're kind of throwing shade at each other and like talking about how They recognized that Boba Fett was like, he had the same anatomy and voice of a clone, and I love that they just keep nodding to the prequel trilogy in that way with like the clones, and Boba isn't just serving as like, you know, a throwback character to the OT. He's like acting as a bridge to the prequel trilogy and the clones. A lot of people got emotional when they saw Luke Skywalker, and I definitely did too, but my breaking point happened actually not when Luke appeared on the screen or when they did his hooded reveal. It was when R2 came into the shot, and I don't know why it really took for R2 to be standing there next to Luke, where it just really hit me all at once, like, man, this is Luke Skywalker and R2-D2. It felt like I was watching episode 6, you know? It didn't feel like I was watching the Mandalorian anymore. R2-D2 took me out of that universe and just, or maybe threw me deeper into the universe, I don't know, but something about R2-D2 being there was just so magical for me. Like, just seeing R2-D2 next to Luke Skywalker, just that team again, that just made me emotional. Star Wars Theory pointed out that maybe R2-D2 knows who Grogu is from the Jedi Temple, because he would have been around at that same time, so that's a cool theory. So yeah, that's going to do it for this Star Wars Real Talk episode. It was a little bit longer, I guess, than my usual stuff, but we had a lot to talk about, and I haven't talked about Mandalorian on this show at all, so I could probably do a whole podcast on it if I wanted to, but tune into my live streams on Battlefront 2. Maybe not Battlefront 2, could be any game, but it's most often Battlefront 2, where I answer your questions and fan theory ideas, and we just talk about Star Wars. So a lot of times I do a lot of theorizing and speculating and analyzing on my live streams when people are asking me questions and challenging my thoughts on the Star Wars universe. So tune into those streams for sure, and thanks for watching this video. May the Force be with you.